Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Always Bookkeeping YouTube channel, where we help small business owners stay organized, confident, and ready for tax time. Today, we're talking about something that causes a lot of confusion for new and growing businesses, GST.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about GST today. Most new business owner or self-employed people get tripped up on CRA all the time, where they just think, let's just charge 5% on all of my sales and services and call it a day.
So yes, a lot of business owners get really confused with GST. So today I'm going to be asking Tony the questions we hear from small business owners all the time. Things like, when do I have to register? What happens after I hit $30,000? And can I claim GST back? What receipts do I need? And what are the biggest mistakes to avoid? Is that right?
Yep. So a lot of business owner or self-employed individuals get tripped up a lot in real life, where they just think, let's just charge 5% on every sales and services that we do and remit it to CRA and call it a day. But there are a little bit more than that when it comes to GST.
All right. Well, let's jump right in. My first question is, what is GST?
So GST is goods and services tax. So in Alberta or most of Canada provinces, we charge 5% on goods and services that small business provide. So for example, if you provide a service for $1,000, your GST collected is $50 on that goods or services on $1,000.
And is that $50 for the business? They can just take that and put it in their pocket?
No. So a lot of people think that, that would be, if you don't track it correctly, a lot of business owners just have that extra money in the bank account and think that it is your cash, but you have to remit it at the end of your reporting period for your GST to CRA.
Okay. So if they do put that in their pocket, they could get into a lot of trouble?
Yeah, so most of the time they would think that that's their money and they just spend that instead of remit it to CRA.
So the big question that I have is, when does a small business actually have to register for GST?
For most small businesses, the key number that are on CRA is $30,000 taxable sales. And the CRA look at the threshold on a quarterly basis, like the four consecutive quarters, not the calendar year. So you can't just think, from January to December, I didn't make $30,000, so I'm okay without register for a GST account. But even if you start your business in June, it's going to be from June this year to June next year, not from June to December. So you have to count the consecutive quarters, not the calendar year.
All right. And what if someone makes like $35,000 in a quarter?
Then you already passed that threshold. You have to register for a GST account and start reporting it, whether that would be monthly, quarterly, or annually for your GST. And you have to do that within the 29 days period after you hit that threshold.
Oh, wow. In that 30 days. Okay. So one question that I hear a lot of my clients asking is that $30,000 based on profit or on total sales?
It is actually revenue from taxable supply, so not profit. So if your revenue is $30,000 minus $20,000 expenses, your profit is 10. The 10 is not the 30, or anything above that 30 is the amount that CRA used for your GST number.
All right. Okay. So if I make $35,000 in sales, but then I spend $20,000 on, let's say, expenses, I can't say, well, I only made $15,000, so I don't need to claim the GST.
That's right. The top number is the number that you use for your GST. So once you hit that over that $30,000 in revenue, that's when you should register for a GST number, and you have to do it again within a 29 days period.
And that's where a bookkeeper can help. Is that right?
That's right. So sometimes business owners don't realize that they already passed that threshold until the year end. And at that point, you're already late in registering the GST number. And a whole lot of problems can come from not knowing your numbers right away when you hit that threshold.
Okay. So if a business is under like $30,000, should they just register for a GST anyway?
You can voluntarily register for it, but it's not always a good idea just because if you're below the threshold, you register, you have to start collecting the GST, keep track of how much you collect on ITC as well. So if you're under that threshold, you can, but we wouldn't recommend it.
Can you explain what ITC is in like plain language for me?
Yeah. So think of GST as the amount that you collect from your customer. ITC is the amount that ITC is the amount that you actually pay on your suppliers to provide the services or other expenses that you incur in your business. So let's say bookkeeping, dues and subscription, meals and entertainment, gas, etc. Things like that, you pay the GST on the expenses that you incur in your business. So CRA look at it in a way where the money you collected from GST minus the ITC that you pay on the expenses, the difference is what the CRA want you to remit. Okay,
so it's not just like I've collected all of this GST, so I'm just going to send all of that in.
No, with the GST, like I said, you collect all the GST minus all the ITC, then remit the difference.
Okay. Is there a downside to registering early?
Yeah, so once you register early, you have responsibility. So you have to charge your GST, you have to file GST return, keep a clean record, you stay compliant. Voluntary registering can be useful, but at the end of the day, you have to know what you're signing up for and the extra responsibilities that come with it.
Okay. So let's say someone registers, what changes right away for them?
So your invoicing start changing right away. So you're on the invoicing that you send your clients, you should have your GST number, and you should differentiate between or let the customer know if your services and products come with the GST or charge on top. So your service and products is $1,000. That's line one. Line two is GST collected. That's $50. Your total is $1,050. $1,050. If your services included the GST, then just put it on the invoice or receipt that is already included. So that will be a additional line that say GST collected.
All right.
At 5%, yeah.
So they can't just keep sending their old invoices?
No, you have to update your invoices with the new line of the GST collected and your GST number so the client know who they're paying.
Okay. And what about the money collected?
So set it aside. Don't... The one mistake is that don't mix up the GST with the revenue. So you have to have your bookkeeping nice and clean. And when you look at the P&L, which we do with our clients, a lot of the time they don't understand that all the expenses don't have the GST in them, and then all the revenue don't have the GST in them, just because that is not the money that you keep or that the money that you pay on the expenses. So everything on the P&L don't have GST on them.
Okay. Let's talk about receipts. What does a business owner need to keep if they want to claim GST back?
You, from the advice that we give all of our clients, we get you to keep all the receipts for at least 6 to 7 years.
Okay.
And most of the time, the thermal receipts fade after a while. So every month that we meet with the clients, they just drop off the receipts in our office and we scan and save them, save the receipts for them digitally, or they can do it at the year end. A lot of our clients save it in a really nice folder. So January of 2026, they have a folder. February 2026, they have a folder. At the year end, whenever that may be, it may not be December, it may be June. So they come into the office, drop everything off to us, we scan everything and give it back to them, and then we just keep it in our digital cabinet file.
All right.
But the physical receipt, you have to keep it for 6 to 7 years.
You have to keep that. And when it comes to receipts, can I just keep like all of my debit receipts and have that be good enough?
No, the CRA, a lot of our clients say, oh, but I have the bank statement that show that I buy this from that. But CRA generally doesn't accept bank statement just because CRA doesn't know if you pay or pay GST on that item, line item, or you pay the ITC on that line item. So CRA generally don't accept bank statements or credit card statement. They have to see a receipt that show who the supplier is or who the customer is to be able to, have that piece of receipt.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds like something big to keep in mind.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of people just throw away the receipt and just, I have the bank statement, that should be good enough for it. Or, a lot of time you see those cars that have a bunch of receipt on their dashboard because they get a gas receipt for when they fill up the car, throw in the car, and then when the car gets super messy with all the receipts lying around everywhere, they just pile it up, put it in a trash bag, and just throw it away.
And you mentioned that receipts fade over time, especially those thermal receipts. Mm-hmm. So it's a good idea to stay organized with bookkeeping.
That's right. So
okay. So what about the biggest mistakes? I know we talked about that at the beginning. What's the biggest mistake?
Number one is not watching the $30,000 threshold. So if you don't have the bookkeeping done regularly or know your numbers really well, you might have crossed that threshold 6 months ago without knowing it. And
then you missed that 29-day period.
Yeah.
All right. What about number 2 mistake?
Number 2 is charging GST before registering and not charging GST after you have registered. So you have to know the problem before it become a bigger problem. So you have to know when to start charging the GST. And if you start charging the GST, then you have to start reporting it to the CRA, whatever you opt into, whether that would be monthly, quarterly, or annually. So you have to remit on that period.
That sounds stressful.
Yeah. And at Always Bookkeeping, we do it on the behalf of our clients. So we know exactly what their reporting period is. And we bookkeep all the GST collected, the ITC pay, and then we remit it on their behalf every month, every quarter, or every year.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So always bookkeeping to the rescue.
Yeah, we try to take as much out of our clients' plate so that what they can focus on is growing the business, not the numbers.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Is there any other mistakes that business owners make?
Yeah, not separating GST from income. So they just count everything as income and spend that money. So you have to separate between the GST collected and your revenue. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure that if you don't separate it out, it can affect the accuracy of your statements as well.
And the cash flow for your business is very important. So you need to know what exactly is yours money and what exactly you need to remit to CRA.
Yeah. What's yours and what's the government's.
That's right.
And what about claiming the ITCs?
So claiming ITC, you have to have proper receipt, and you cannot claim your personal expenses as ITC. So anything that you incur within the business, generally to create revenue, then you can claim ITC against your GST collected.
All right. And how long do business owners need to keep their GST records?
So usually GST record needs to be kept between 6 to 7 years. That's usually what we recommend our clients. So 6 to 7 years for all the receipts that you, for all the invoices for your customer and all the receipts that you paid the ITC on.
All right. Mm-hmm. So don't throw everything in the bin in January and start fresh.
No, just keep old school. So just keep the bin for 2026 receipt and invoices in a box. Leave it there for 6 years, 7 years. After that, you can shred.
That sounds simple.
Yeah. So just keep it in the corner in your house or your office and just forget about it until CRA requests them.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Are there any situations, Tony, where the 30,000 rule doesn't quite apply in the same way?
Yeah. So the common example is self-employed taxi, commercial side, ride sharing driver. So CRA says commercial ride sharing must register for GST even if it's under the $30,000 threshold. And there are some cases where you don't charge GST. For example, dentists in Manitoba cannot charge GST on their services, and also because they can charge GST, they can't claim their ITC either.
Okay.
Yeah, so it depends on the cases and where you are.
Okay, that's really interesting. So someone on a ride sharing app should not assume that since I'm under $30,000, GST doesn't matter.
That's right. Because that you are in that line of work, you have to claim that. Or because you are in a certain line of work, you cannot charge GST. So it can go both ways.
All right. Okay. So here's a scenario for you, Tony. Let's say someone is at like $20,000 to $25,000. What should they do? Like, what are their next steps?
The next step is always keep your bookkeeping nice and clean. And if you know that you are you have a growing business and you hit that 25,000 revenue already, and it's only been 3 months into your fiscal year, then it is a good time to start looking for a bookkeeper, or taking your bookkeeping a little bit more serious. Just because you are growing, you're gonna hit that threshold pretty soon, so you have to know when to register. So you are within a 29 days period. Start reporting to CRA whatever you opt in, monthly, quarterly, or annually. So you have to register and pay that amount.
All right. So the best time to prepare is before CRA contacts you.
That's right. So it's better to be prepared and just do your due diligence before CRA, knock on your door. When that happened, they already have incurred interest and penalty. So that's the extra money that could have been going on to growing the business instead of paying that interest and penalties, and it could get expensive.
Excellent. All right. Really good words of advice. I learned so much about GST that I didn't even know. I thought I knew it all.
No, yeah. And a lot of business owner, that's the last thing they think about, just because all they think about is growing the business and make the most amount of money and the most out of the time during the day, instead of thinking, what am I collecting from a client? What am I going to have to remit to CRA? So it's good to have the extra help from a professional bookkeeper.
Perfect. All right. So to recap, GST is not extra income. The $30,000 threshold is based on taxable sales and not profit. Alberta's GST is generally 5%. And once you're registered, you need clean invoices, good records, and proper bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so if someone needs help with their bookkeeping, can they call you?
Yeah, you can call us at 780-554-8356. Me, myself, or my business partner will be happy to give you a free first initial consult, or you can book your first meeting with us on our website at www.alwaysbookkeeping.ca.
Perfect. Thanks everyone for watching. And if you're a small business owner and your books are behind, or you're not sure if you're ready for GST, this is the exact thing that Always Bookkeeping can help you with. All right.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and see you at the next video.
See you.